And welcome to another episode of the Bandit Room. My name is Charles, and I'm joined here in the studio today by Mr. Aggie and Caleb.
What's up? What's up?
And a special guest today is the mayor of this town, Mr. John Gettys. Thank you for joining us.
Well, glad to be here. Always good to hang out with good friends and good drinks in the corner.
Now, it's been a while since we've talked. You came and visited at the last iteration that we were doing of the Bandit Room. I believe it was like 3 weeks after you were elected mayor. Since then, there's been a number of things.
Just a few.
Just a few things have happened.
Just a few.
Give us a little rundown of the past, 5 years now?
In my fifth year, that's correct. Yeah, hit the ground running. You know, within the first year, we were named an All-American City, competed out in Denver, Colorado. We were named an All-American City. Took a telephone call from a certain team above the state line that wanted to come below the state line, and that's seen the ebb and flow of time.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of ups and downs with that relationship.
More downs than ups these days. Seen an explosion of growth in downtown Rock Hill. We've got $600 to $700 million of private development in downtown Rock Hill. $600 to $700 million of development out in the Riverwalk area across I-77, which has been in the mix for about, I was thinking about that earlier. I think it's been active for right at 15 years now. Of course, 2008 to 12 is a hole in what you can get done, and a lot of great things going on. Miracle Park as an example, and we've seen a lot on the city level, keeping people's taxes low. We haven't raised taxes since 2005. We've cut electric rates back to where we're now, down to what was being charged in 2017, and cut business license taxes or business license fees, which is a tax, so that 96% of businesses in the city of limits of Rock Hill pay less than they did before I was mayor. So we got a lot going on, and much more to come.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. Tell us about your background for those who aren't familiar with you. Did you grow up in Rock Hill?
Moved to Rock Hill when I was 13. My dad grew up in Rock Hill. My grandfather grew up in Rock Hill, and on and on. My mother's from Gastonia, but after my dad graduated from law school, he took a job in Greenville with a bank and was a lawyer for a bank in the trust department, and eventually to Orangeburg, Columbia, and then back to Rock Hill when I was 13. So started school at Rawlison Road Junior High School at the time. Now it's a middle school. In Northwestern High, then off to Erskine College. You know a little bit about Erskine.
I do.
Charles.
I'm a little familiar. Another alumni in the building.
Yeah, Flying Fleet.
That's right.
That's class of 91. You were what?
2010.
Oh my goodness. 91, and then on to law school and graduate school. I got my JD at my law degree at USC, and at the same time got a master's degree in public administration. And then came back home to practice law. Started with Hugh Harrelson and Wes Hayes, David Guyton. Was there for 6 years and left and opened up Morton and Gettys, and we've been rolling ever since.
Nice. Now talk a little bit about that. So how active are you currently in your law practice? So you're balancing your time between being the mayor and also the partner at Morton and Gettys. How is your time split up? Can't be. Is it 50-50?
Oh, no. There's an ebb and flow to it, as I try to explain. We today the last few weeks have been able to get a lot of legal work done. Tomorrow I'll be all mayor all day, pretty much. Friday, a little bit of a balance, and then this past Monday was all day mayor. It's just sort of comes and goes.
Each week a little different. You're not able to be like Monday through Wednesday. I'm a lawyer.
When I first started 4.5 years ago, that was my plan. I'm going to show up at City Hall on this day and this day every week. Everybody plan for it. Load me up with meetings. I'll sit there. We'll work through them, and we do that. And then every night I have to run to this or run to that. It seems not every night, but run to things, and then someone says, "Hey, we got this idea. What if we, see if we can build something downtown that could bring people in and play sports, and see if we can get our sports tourism even better than before." And that takes a lot of time and effort. And that was the Sports and Event Center. I came in on the back end of that. Doug Eccles, that was his baby. But other things we've worked on. So it's just you take it as you get it.
All right.
So, John, is the mayor gig, is that a paid gig?
Yeah, I get about $27,000 a year is the salary for that. I think after taxes and all, every 2 weeks I get about $600.
Okay. So
I bill $400 an hour.
that's what's going to be my follow-up question.
Yeah, I know.
That was going to be my follow-up question.
I bill $400 an hour as a lawyer.
Well, we do use your law firm, so
Yes,
we need
you
to put
do.
that out.
Very
Okay,
good.
it was a disclaimer.
Disclaimer,
yeah.
we do. We do.
We have an ongoing relationship.
Well,
That's right.
I bill $500 an hour.
This is matching up with our bills.
So, just to give we can't give all the information, but just a little bit. We have 12 different software products.
Right.
All the products we built was to exit one day to sell it to a private equity or one of our big competitors, whatnot. So we are in the process of exiting one of our premier product.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's going to be big news. It's going to put a lot of attention into Rock Hill because this is a very large private equity firm and based in New York and all the good stuff. So we are dealing with a lot of lawyers right now. I know the rates.
We're involved in a little litigation as well at the city of Rock Hill right now, and
I heard
those rates too.
Yeah.
Generated a few headlines.
Is that a pro bono work you do on that, or do you actually?
Oh no, I don't do any work for
You
the
don't.
city of Rock
No, you
Hill.
don't. Okay.
That,
Well, I know that our audience can't see, but do you see the picture that
I
we have
do.
on our wall there?
I remember that picture from where it was before you got.
Oh wow! Okay, we got another one. I don't know where we hung that, but in support of our city, we are kind of creating that hashtag Tepper Tantrum.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times. I like that. I like that hashtag.
For the listener, there's an image in the room that we're in of it's a rendering of the project that never was, the Carolina Panthers headquarters here in Rock Hill.
Because they filed for bankruptcy, the firm that was doing the work filed for bankruptcy, and they're liquidating all the stuff they have. So we went and bought a bunch of stuff from them. Pretty much that is. I don't know how much you're allowed to talk about it. Is there anything that you want to add that's not already out there, or?
Well, we're in litigation now.
Right.
The GT Real Estate, or GTRE, which is the company that Mr. Tepper owns, that was the owner of this development, filed bankruptcy, and that's hurt a lot of people,
right?
A lot of contractors, subcontractors, and the like, and that's playing itself through the process as bankruptcy does. There have been allegations that the city couldn't meet our end of the deal, which are false. The documents that we all signed say very clearly that the city will take the Panthers project to the bond market, but we are not responsible for backing those bonds.
Mm-hmm.
We never agreed. It's in writing that we never would put the city taxpayer at risk.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, who's there if it all falls apart? And it was always GTRE or otherwise, not the people of the city of Rock Hill. And it just got to a point where we could only say no enough times. And
correct.
They finally understood that was the case. So this was the option they took.
So I'm going to go back a couple of steps back just to add a little more color to that. I have friends from out of the state here who reach out to from my photography days or from the business side or trucking industry, and all of them are football fans. And they were all saying, like, what happened to you guys? Are you guys not able to pay your bills? I said, dude, I don't think that's the case, because nobody, a city as big as Rock Hill or as fast growing as Rock Hill is not going to back out on something. But this is when Tepper's team put the news out. The city is not doing what they said they were going to do. So that was a news cycle that followed through, right? The city failed in what they were supposed to do. Do you think that we missed out on an opportunity to get ahead of that news to put our stance out?
That's a fair question, and the best way I can answer that is, I'm a lawyer.
Correct.
And the facts are what matter. The
right.
law and the facts are what matter. And when you go to the press or the media personalities and you start taking your argument to or why something may not work, whether it's based on fact or law or not,
right?
I don't think it helps us as a city to say that's not true, because there's no determiner of what truth is in the public realm.
Right.
That's where a court or a bankruptcy, where you decide those things. And so for us at the city, we took our lumps, we take our lumps, but look what's happened since that started. The Does anybody now believe this is the city of Rock Hill's fault based upon what they've seen of that organization and the way they've handled things in Charlotte,
Right.
and subsequent the facts that have come out since that time? So you have a balancing act.
Right.
You know, you don't want people to talk bad about your city, but you also don't want to make it such a public contest that you're just continuing a dialogue that's not good for the city.
Right.
You know, he said, she said.
Right.
And you see this a lot, I think, in politics when you're running for office and someone finds something where they can pick at you, they will just continue to do that,
Right.
whether they're right or not. So we're right. We've known we've been right throughout because there is a contract. That
Correct.
contract is of public record, and anyone can go read it. And anyone could go hire an attorney or a financial planner or whomever to explain it if need be. And it's regretful, I think, that a lot of our media personalities did not do that.
Correct. Yep.
WRHI did. Charleston Post and Courier did. That's a pretty short list.
Okay, right. But I did watch the eventual press conference that you did, along with the
City manager.
That was pretty good. Both of you explained very clearly, very specific to the point of exactly what happened. That was pretty good.
Well, I mean, I like what you said there about, anybody who's really paying attention to it. I think you're right. I think most people really see what really happened. However, in the court of public opinion, and if you look at it on a national scale, not everybody's following Rock Hill politics. The people, some like you referenced, people from all over were texting you.
Right.
These people aren't following the whole
Correct.
story. So would you just say that, you hope in the long run people are going to see this for what it was, or?
Well, and that's a hard question to answer in a lot of ways. There's nothing that I can say or do that can persuade anyone in Wisconsin.
Right.
They're not bought into our community. And I'm not elected by anybody in Wisconsin.
Right.
So my duty is to the people of Rock Hill as I see it, and as I think our city council sees it. And our duty is to create a better economic environment for our community than anything else. And if someone's mistaken about the facts and they live somewhere else and they have a different opinion of Rock Hill than they would if they knew the truth, that's regretful. And that's something that I wish we could control. But also, I don't really want to go out and try to make my case in the court of public opinion and continue the conversation any longer so that more people hear about it and more people draw wrong conclusions. Gotcha. So it's that really fine line, and and that's what courts are for, and that's where we are. And that's where I know that the city of Rock Hill taxpayer is protected. Nobody's taxes are going up by this. Nobody's fees for utilities are going up by this. Aggie, you mentioned we had a meeting, and the city manager and I basically had a colloquy, and the beginning of that said, facts are stubborn things, and we're going to talk about facts. And we haven't gone to the press, we haven't carried it out there, just because I don't see how it helps anything in any way. And quite frankly, I think that the people of Rock Hill, who I worry about, understand and are supportive of where we are by and large.
All right. Well, we appreciate you talking about it.
Yeah.
We know it's not a easy topic, and I know you're limited in what you can and
Sure.
can't say right now. But let's transition to something different field of sports tourism,
Sure.
one that's actually seems to be working out for the city of Rock Hill.
Pick one.
Pick
Right.
one, right?
Yeah.
Like, where do you want to start? I mean, we were just talking in a recent episode about one of the big events that happened here, the Cornhole Championships, things like that. Little oddball sort of celebratory things that are really putting Rock Hill on the map in an interesting way. Between, we talked about the BMX situation we had, the BMX National Championship, the Cornhole National Championship, things like that. What else is on the way? We had something called the Ocho Show recently?
Yeah, ESPN Ocho. They came to Rock Hill and filmed sporting events that were not traditional.
Right.
Air guitar, slippery stairs, Quidditch.
Yeah.
You should know that, Caleb.
Yeah.
Quad ball. Oh, okay.
Quad ball.
There you go. A lot of different things. Cornhole was part of that.
Right.
Doug Flutie's team won, which was neat to see Doug Flutie in town. For those that may not know, he played football a long time ago.
Gotcha.
That was a wonderful, fun weekend. I would get texts from friends around the state or around the southeast going, "What are y'all doing up there?" And I'll say, "Well, the guy in in the Yeti costume. That's me. It wasn't, of course, but it was a good conversation starter. And that was a fun day.
So tell me, for starters, how do you go about doing this, or someone reaches out? What is making this happen in the city of Rock Hill? There's all this sports stuff.
Well, we've got a reputation. Okay. It's been built up since Betty Jo Ray was mayor, and our facilities are second to none. So you can't go anywhere else in the country right now and find a city that has a sports and event center like we do, that has these basketball or volleyball courts that we can do a lot of different things in. Likewise with Manchester Meadows and Cherry Park and all that in one. That's owned by the city, so that we can staff it appropriately and make sure it's good quality help while you're here. And then we've gotten some very big high-profile things. Just prior to ESPN Ocho's visit, we had Adidas come in for a tournament where they brought the best high school basketball players in the country to Rock Hill, men and boys and girls. All of the college coaches a lot of college coaches were in town. Our airport out here, not far from your place, had more jets at the airport than at one time than we've seen. That's great for sales of fuel and things and dropping off. And I've got a great story to tell you about that. But this 5 or 6 day tournament, and Adidas comes in, and they'd been talking to us about this tournament, how big it was going to be, and they said we'll do a 1-year contract, and we were fine, we were happy with that. And then just before tournament started, really said we want to bump this up to 3. We really like working with you guys. It's 3 years, and so we feel real good about that. Right. And so they come and they see that Rock Hill hospitality, how we do things, how we treat people. And that first night we're hanging out afterwards, and I said, I think we need to go longer than 3 years. And they said, well, Mayor, we were thinking maybe another 3-year term. I said, well, I was thinking 10. I said, you take your 3 you've given me, I'll give you 6. That's 9. Let's make it 10. Right? And so, it's just sort of the relationship we had and worked up and had a great time. But this tournament with these kids coming in and these coaches coming in, we filled up 3,500 room nights in the Rock Hill, York County area, $14 million economic impact from just that small tournament. Wow. Now, that's not money to the city. That's to the hoteliers, the restaurateurs, the gas, retail, all those kind of things. So it's just a phenomenal outcome. And it just so happened that Senator Tim Scott was coming through, and he texted me. I've known Senator Scott for a long time. He said, Mayor, I'm coming through. I'd like to go by and see all this work going on with this opportunity zone. I said, I don't need you to meet me or anything. I just wanted you to know I was here. Oh, gosh. United States Senator's coming to your town. Yeah, I got to drop everything, right? And I'm at my law firm at the time. I said, all right, I'm out. Y'all got to cover. And so we take them to the Adidas thing, and the Adidas guys walk up and go, this is Senator Scott. I said, yeah, let me introduce you. We did. And city manager pulled one of them over and said, I bet you those other cities you can't get their United States Senator to come say hello. We got a kick out of that. But the real funny story then was our folks that work at the city of Rock Hill really are exceptional at what they do. And they're not good because they're talented. They're good because they're good people. And so we had a hospitality area for these coaches. So while they're watching the kids, and they're up on a platform looking at all these games going on, watching particular men or women, and some of these employees were working this hospitality area, and they see a guy sitting at a table, and so one of them goes and sits down and thank you for coming. Anything I can do for you? He goes, no, I'm fine. And she goes, well, are you a coach? Oh yeah, I'm a coach. So well, what'd you do before you got here? Just started up a conversation, and the coach said, well, or she said, where are you from? And he says, well, I'm from the Bahamas or Bermuda, I can't remember which. And she was, oh, well, what brought you to the States? Well, basketball. Did you play? Oh, yeah, I played basketball. Where? Georgetown. Oh, and then what'd you do after you played basketball at Georgetown? Well, I played in the NBA for a while. I said, oh, well, that's wonderful. And she said, well, where are you now? So I'm the coach at Georgetown now. And so she's talking, they're talking about boiled peanuts and all these things. Yeah. And he looks at her and he goes, you have no idea who I am, do you? And she goes, no, I'm sorry. I don't know anything about basketball. I'm sorry. I'm embarrassed that you called me on that. It was Patrick Ewing.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Okay. I mean,
legend.
Anybody that's over 20 years of age knows who Patrick Ewing is. But that just goes to show you what our employees and how our city is represented.
Right.
This employee saw a guy sitting at a table by himself and wanted to be hospitable.
Right.
Nice.
It's just something as a mayor, it just makes you feel good that when people come to your community and they're treated with respect and they're treated with, just some empathy or some availability to just welcome them. Yeah, it goes a long way.
Yep.
And so I think that's why we see what we've got. Our PRT department especially has just been exceptional at the job they've done for a long, long time.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, Caleb, you said something about Kiddish. What is that? What is a different change in name? I read something about it.
Yeah, so it was Quidditch, based on the Harry Potter sport.
It's the name of it in the book, yeah.
Yes, but apparently the association and all of the things for the actual sport in real life are separate from J.K. Rowling, who's the author. There's some sort of controversy that she's been involved in. So recently they decided that they're going to call it quad ball now.
Quad ball.
To kind of break it off further from J.K. Rowling
Are you
and things.
a quad baller?
No.
But they're still running around with broomsticks.
Oh, yeah.
Have you taken part in that
not
sport?
so far departed from
Are you one of the audience for that? Are you going to watch the game?
No.
Game, whatever it's called.
No, I mean, unless you count the movies, but no.
It's a match, I guess. Is it a match?
It's a match. So, John, when recently I was in downtown after a long time, almost a year after we moved out of there.
Yeah, we miss you. All our restaurants down there wondering where's Aggie?
I saw all these apartments going up.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us some stories. Like, what's the plan? How many approximately how many apartments are going up? And where are the people coming from to stay there?
Right. Well, the apartments you've just seen are the Exchange.
Right.
Developers out of Charlotte are doing a good job with that. That was at one time an old car lot right at the corner of White Street and Dave Lau. The county bought it. Had some trouble getting it moved over time. RHED, after I became mayor, talked to the then chairman of the county council, Dr. Blackwell. And we worked out an agreement where the city's RHEDC would come in under a contract with the county so that RHEDC could clean the property up for environmental concerns. It's the main reason why I wouldn't sell it.
Right.
And RHEDC, being a separate 501c3, which is a tax designation for anybody listening, could, under a contract, remediate the site to make it marketable. And did.
Okay.
And this group from Charlotte came down and bought it, and they're building apartments, 3 buildings. I think it's 142 units. The first 2 buildings have their COs, and people are living in there. The third, which is on the Dave Lau, should get their CO by Labor Day, so 10 days from now.
It's a total of 142 apartments?
Yes, in those 3 buildings.
Wow.
And then across Dave Lau, diagonally across from Dave Lau, where the old Evening Herald, our existing newspaper, used to be the Evening Herald. Used to be a lot thicker too. That paper has moved because people don't print papers like they used to, and that site is scheduled to come down to be demolished. I'm hoping within the next 45 days, thereabouts. The plans are in. That will be built. It'll be more apartments. I want to say that's 240 apartments. Wow. There'll be a parking deck on that site. Okay. There'll be a parking deck across the Exchange in that lot behind the Wells Fargo Bank, as it is now, and a pedestrian bridge linking them up across Dave Lau and across the railroad.
So that pedestrian bridge is happening?
Oh, it's happening. Okay. It's the design is at the designers, the engineers, or whomever now. It'll be built along with the 2 parking decks. The funds are there or available for the bridge. The parking decks will get let go once start construction once the Herald site is demolished and construction starts.
So do you have any plans to put a roof over downtown?
No roof over downtown.
Are the rumors true?
No roof over downtown. I tell you, after I got elected, I tried to talk everybody into let's put some zip lines downtown. We don't have a roof.
Back to the zip line.
That's right.
Thing.
The zip lines would be something fun to see.
What happened to the tram car or the
streetcar? We do have a bus line. Are you referring to something different?
No, there was some talk years ago about a trolley.
Trolley car,
Yeah, that's gone by the wayside, and rightfully so. It just really wouldn't work. We do have a bus system, My Ride, the first all-electric, fare-free bus system from scratch in the country. Others are transitioning that way, but we set it up that way. My ride's was wildly popular and effective at what we wanted it to do as to a ridership number prior to the pandemic, and then it went, looked like a bad graph. It went down.
Right.
I looked at the numbers last week, and we're now over our threshold number. So, first time we've gotten it back.
You're above pre-pandemic levels.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, we're not to the height.
Gotcha.
But there's a baseline of 4,100 riders a month, I believe is the number, and we've exceeded that again, which has been a few years.
Nice. And were those? Correct me if I'm wrong. They were manufactured in America. The electric buses,
Greenville.
even in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Proterra.
Greenville?
Yeah, built by Proterra over in the Greenville, Greer, over in that area.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, something I'm curious about, because I don't know if I've talked to anybody who has experienced this, but the roof over Rock Hill is like a fascinating, weird, infamous chapter in Rock Hill history. I don't know if I've ever talked to anybody who's actually was there when it was there.
Oh, I was.
What was that like?
You just indirectly called John. Are you old enough to know the roof?
Yeah.
Is that what
The roof
not what
came
I meant.
off. Yeah, the roof came off in about 93, if I remember right. Went on 70s, sometime in the 70s, early 70s probably. I'm not sure. I remember it when I moved to Rock Hill in 1981 or so. I can remember going down there when I was, there was a record store. Anybody know what a record store is? Y'all remember that?
Yeah,
They're making a comeback. They're making a comeback.
Rotary phone.
Yeah.
So there was a record store there, and I can remember going to the record store and going in this place and realizing that I was not walking in a mall. I was walking on a street. Right? That was odd. And then, these former buildings that have been in Rocky for over 100 years, very dark, smelled bad. I mean, it really smelled bad. And nobody wanted to go there. At least I didn't want to go there because of the smell.
So
it's just it wasn't very ventilated.
Yeah. How far did it extend? So it started on what is now Dave Lyle?
No, it wasn't quite there. There used to be a bank right there.
Okay. So it's like the Wells Fargo building?
Yeah, right about the Wells Fargo building.
Okay.
The bank that was there was on Main Street, so it cut Main Street off. So I had to take the bank down to finish Main Street to Dave Lyle, in addition to the roof coming off. And then the roof came up to...
Like Amelie's? Or?
Not quite there. The street just before that.
Where Jimmy John's is.
Yes, right across from Jimmy John's, right in there. Because you could drive right there. So maybe 10, 15 feet inside that. But it came up that rise and protected some of those buildings. And you can tell a difference between... the first floor and the top floors, especially when the roof took off, because they had weathered and those inside had not.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I love the Fountain Park.
Oh, how can you not?
It's fantastic.
That changed downtown.
Yep,
I mean, it really
for
did.
sure.
When the Barnes family invested in downtown by helping make that happen with the city, that was ongoing. At the same time, they built the building, Fountain Park Place, where my law firm is, and when that opened and the fountain started before it broke, we were in a different place.
Right.
And we hadn't turned back since.
We had, the reason we moved to downtown was because of the building where you folks are now.
Right.
We came to look at some space there. Warren told us to come there and take a look at it.
Yeah, Warren's good that way.
But we didn't want to be in a Class A building because we don't really see clients, so we ended up going somewhere else. Now, with the city, how far ahead y'all plan ahead? It's like a 5-year plan, 10-year plan for when it comes to business and amenities and all that stuff?
Well, different time frames for different things. Let's talk about a few things we're going to see soon.
Okay.
One is a new park that will be kicking off. That'll be a central park, so to speak. It'll be a little over 100 acres. It'll start right behind the American Legion on Heckle Boulevard and come all through the old mill parks, Victoria and others, into Wilson Street, just south of the old post office. And that park, we're going to program. We're going to do a lot of different things there. We've hired a consultant. We'll start meeting with neighborhoods probably within the next 30 days. Been talking about that since I became mayor. And we're ready to sort of try to get to it and slow everything down. But the beauty about this $30 million park is we don't have to raise taxes to do it. You see, when the city years ago redid Glencairn Garden and Manchester Meadows, It used the hospitality taxes, so we're not paying any of that unless you come to town and you buy gas, you stay at a hotel. That's that economic impact produces some taxes. And so we take that tax revenue, and we did Manchester Meadows, redid Glencairn Garden, and the debt on that runs out in 25 or 26. So we've got this debt capacity opening up in 2 years, 3 years, that now we'll be able to take this new park, build it, and just slide it right into what we already do.
Awesome.
So we'll just continue to build amenities for the people of Rock Hill and bring more economic vitality to our community because, they set that up. I was on council then, which was 20 years ago, when we did the hospitality accommodations tax and 2% beverage and food.
Gotcha.
So you see, that's a 20-year process to redo some of our existing facilities, build a sports and event center and these other things, and now continuing to do and investing in the south side of Rock Hill. Some of these are much quicker. This time last year, I came back from vacation and walked in the city manager's office and said, we need to go see if we can annex some property on I-77 and use the tax receipts from the development that happens there to pay for the redevelopment of the south side of Rock Hill, right? And we just looked at each other and thought about it, and he goes, well, we give it a shot. So we started in August. In November, we had over 2,500 acres annexed into the city of Rock Hill from on I-77, all of it voluntary. We didn't force anybody to annex. Since then, we've got other projects that are coming in for others didn't. So we'll have some 3,000 or so acres on I-77 zoned industry heavy, industry general, to bring in manufacturers and manufacturers and industrial, some distribution to get started. And the tax base that's going to bring us for generations to come is phenomenal. Also is going to create more jobs that are paying higher wages than what we see now.
Right.
So that is in a year's time, we've done something remarkable that, over time we'll stop and think about. That agenda when we annexed all these properties in was just unbelievable.
Gotcha.
And the work that went in by the city folks to make that happen, and the parties that own these properties out there. I mean, I'd be on the phone with one and say, we want to annex you in. Here's why. We want to see your property develop, create jobs, but we want to rebuild the south side. And every single one of them said, count me in. Let's figure out what works, but count me in. We're in that business. So we're about to see some pretty good economic development hits come in to Rock Hill in the next few years that are going to create some tax revenue from other people, not from us.
Right.
That's going to really help. And it'll help the schools as well.
That's pretty awesome. Just real quick, since we are on 77, so what's going to happen to the Panther facility or ex-Panther facility?
Well, that's going to be something that we'll see after we're done in court. I have what I want to come out of it, and other people have what they want to come out of it. And that's why we have lawyers.
I mean,
but nonetheless, the city has put in work to improve the location.
Yeah, part of the deal on this, and I'll just gloss over it a little bit, is the city agreed to put some infrastructure on site.
Correct.
So it would public infrastructure,
right?
And as it would go off, we'd see that money come back to us. So,
and
that's
then
where we're
the
sticking.
state put the exit in, correct?
State and federal government.
Okay.
Lindsey Graham's office got. I'm gonna get my numbers wrong. One did $40 million, the other did $30 million. City of Rock Hill, we pitched in $1 million. The Panthers were to pitch in $6 million, I think it was.
So that work is still going on.
Oh, that'll be done next spring or so. So we'll have 200 acres of developable property on I-77 with a brand new interchange, a lot of rock removed, and a power line moved from the center to the sides.
Okay. Well, there we go. Charles, write your check, man.
There you go.
Where are we going? Yeah, let's take a little
Let's
break
take
here.
a break.
Catch up.
If you're a trucker and you own a truck that weighs 55,000 pounds or more, we're here to let you know that it's time to file your Form 2290 again. Thankfully, Express Truck Tax is here to make e-filing easy with a free VIN checker, a scan for common errors, and 100% US-based customer support. So go to expresstrucktax.com now to file your 2022-23 Form 2290.
Then we're back with a little Buffalo Trace here today.
Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, let's see.
Caleb, did you give the pitch to Buffalo Trace Distilleries about sponsoring our little podcast here?
Yeah, we,
Yeah.
really
Still
like
looking, Still looking for
nobody's sponsored us yet. We need it.
So I know we talked about your mayor role a little bit, and let's talk about your I guess your main profession, the law side. What are the big changes that you're seeing when it comes to, I guess, what's the right word for the law side of things or lawyer professions?
Well, I started practicing law in 1995, so I've been doing it a little while.
Right.
And when I started, it was sort of, I think, right on the verge. It was at the end of one era of practice of law, and what I've seen since then is a new era, a better era of practicing law. When we opened up Morton & Gettys in 2001, Jim and I were the first two lawyers, and we had a receptionist, I had a paralegal, and we hired someone to sort of help. In the way I practiced before we started Morton & Gettys, where I had a real estate paralegal that did stuff, and I had another paralegal that helped with stuff other than real estate. It was very paralegal driven. I can't type worth a lick. I still can't.
Right.
I'm a hunt and peck. That's just the way it is. And I dictate. Nobody dictates anymore.
Huh.
Now and I used to have to go to a library and pull books and read a case and find a site in that case to take me to the next case and read that section to find another case and go read it. That's how you practice law. You had to trace everything back in order to find your argument to represent your client. And then after I got started practicing and things changed and computers and everything started up, now you hire a lawyer out of law school and they just go to software and they do all that work I used to have to do in a library. They can type like nothing else, and with software and time management and all these other things, we can take a lawyer and we can have a paralegal with 3 lawyers working with them. It used to be a 1-to-1. Now it's a 2 or 3 lawyer to paralegal versus one lawyer to 2 or 3 paralegals. So it's much on that end. It's much more efficient, and you're able to be good and productive and take care of your clients appropriately and keep your costs down.
But I haven't seen the rates go down.
But the other side of that
is... So you're
is...
saying it's more valuable now, right?
Yeah.
That's why we're getting so much bang for our buck with that.
There's so much work out there. That's right. And these cats are so good at what they do. Jim and I started, it was just the two of us. We now have 15 lawyers. And I got to tell you, the one if I've done nothing good in my life, I've learned how to hire really good lawyers.
That's good.
And we've got just one exceptional lawyer after another, some that are very young but are going to be or are exceptional for their age but are really going to be something else with a little bit more seasoning, and it's just really neat to see. And we've been very blessed at our firm is we have paralegals and attorneys that come and stay. We don't have much turnover. We do from time to time, but it's not the norm to have as little turnover as we have, and we like each other. We all really like each other.
Good. So you guys are the largest firm in this area. Is that correct? Would that be correct?
We're the, I make a joke. The solicitor's office is bigger than we are.
Okay.
But yeah, we're one of the biggest in this area of the state.
Gotcha. So is your firm, or how is your firm involved in any pro bono work or charity work for any special cause?
So we have a value statement that we've worked on years ago, and we continue to refine, and we really push hires to get involved in the community. So a lot of our lawyers serve on boards or commissions around town, whether it be Early Learning Partnership, which several of us have served on, Boy Scouts, just a real some city boards, just a lot of different things, some on the state level. And it's just one way of giving back in that regard. And then some are real passionate about other things, and they stay very involved in that as well.
Gotcha. Cool. We got involved with Miracle Park.
Oh, yeah.
We are building the technology side of the park, the website, the app, and all that stuff. We're working on that. Now,
Well, thank you for that. I'll
yes,
tell
sir.
you, you want to define a city. Miracle Park is what all cities should aspire to have.
Right.
When you make a commitment, and this wasn't driven by the government. This was by a handful of folks that
Right.
we all know that
Yep.
have been involved in so many different things, and got around the table, and I met with them, and they said, this is our idea. And I said, guys, I'm all for it. I mean, if we can be a community where every person has a place to play, then we're a community that's doing things right. And they pulled it off. And it's the business community that made it happen.
Very
They
cool.
just rallied around them.
We know quite a bit of them and good people. Warren
Yeah,
was here
yeah.
not too long ago.
Warren was here. Kylie was here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
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 Warren collecting rent, or was Warren?
Well, the Norman family has been fantastic to us. They've been extremely helpful, and now they all become my neighbors. So
Yeah.
how about that?
They're good people.
Ralph is only like 2 driveways down up from me,
Yeah.
and Warren is moving on the other side. So it's been good. So what do you? I mean, you're involved in so many things, John. Like, when do you find free time to do stuff that you like to do?
Well, I honestly love being mayor.
Right.
And I don't just say that. I just do. The people I get to meet, to hang out with, to talk about, a community that we can be, a community that we have been. It brings me a lot of joy to do that. But I've got 3 kids. I've got 3 boys that are this week. They're 22, 20, and 18. One graduated from Clemson just recently. Another one is a junior at Clemson, and my third who's a senior at South Point High School. So I've gone to a lot of ball games, as you can imagine. They've all taken to golf. They play golf all the time together and with other friends, and I'm horrible at it. So they don't invite me much because I slow them down. And when they were younger, I could wait and I could just say a word, or I could say a girl's name, and I could compete with them. But now it's just a waste of their time to humor their dad.
Nice.
Are you into fishing or hunting?
Not really. Growing up, I did those things. You couldn't be in Rock Hill and not, of course.
Right.
My oldest enjoys hunting and fishing more than the other 2. He goes with his uncle, my wife's brother, more so. I've taken them hunting when they were young. They've gotten to where they like to go duck hunting out in Arkansas. That's not for me. It's just too cold.
Is it Arkansas or is the duck hunting part?
Both.
So what do you think about? Do you watch football? I'm assuming you're a Panther fan.
Yeah, well, I was a Panther fan. I have 2 PSLs that I would sell today if I could, but I know that they've got somebody going around buying them up cheap, and I'm just not going to do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not a Panthers
We
fan
are also
anymore.
season ticket PSL holders.
Right.
Nice tickets at the 50-yard line. So we'll see how this season goes, and then.
No, I'll watch them. Those players are phenomenal.
Right.
To be able to see a professional athlete do anything,
Right.
it's just something everybody should get a really good seat at least one time,
Right.
and pay that extra money to see it.
I'm trying to see, I think, who I've met who's a Panther fan and a PSL ticket holder who's not said the line, I'm ready to sell it.
Yeah, I haven't met anyone else.
We heard that Tepper is going to move the team.
That's some theories going around.
Right.
Theories going
To
around.
make that
We've
team.
had some guests posit different theories. One guest had said they thought he was going to move it to San Antonio. Another guest had a more interesting theory
That make
that
it
he
the
was gonna
first
shooting
European
to,
team.
Sure, the first international
International
NFL team
team.
or something like that.
He's pulled out of everything, like all his contracts.
There's some real good jokes that we could just start. We could really have a good time. You brought that Buffalo Trace out, but
We'll be
I'm
polite.
I'm not going down that road.
All right.
Do you, in your profession, do you look at a client saying, do I want to represent that client because I don't like the client, or is it I don't like the case, or
It's true. That's interesting. Yeah, because you choose your clients, I guess. I mean, can you think of examples where you've said I can't take this case on, or have you think of situations where you've said, I don't identify with this person, but I'm still going to represent them because they still have a right to an attorney and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, we've got 15 lawyers in our office, and everyone would have a different answer to some degree because it's a judgment call, and it's not a judgment call that you can make one time. It depends upon where you are in life, what the situation may be, what your ask is for. we're not in a position at our law firm to where we have to take any client. Some law firms are, and I don't mean law firms, some like solicitors have to take certain cases. Public defenders have to take certain cases. People that do criminal defense take certain cases, and I admire all of them for what they do. With us and with our private practice, we're not required to do much of anything, though I have taken cases before just because I thought it was not right what was happening. And I have several lawyers in my office that do the same thing.
Gotcha.
And the way we look at it and the way we talk about it is, you don't go to law school and you don't get into the profession if you're not willing to put it on the line from time to time.
Gotcha.
And that also gives you some great stories to tell.
Right. So we talked a lot about sports. I really need to talk about something that's close, very close to Charles. He's a aspiring actor.
Oh, good.
Aspiring director into community plays.
Sure.
So what's the deal? What's the update for arts and culture, I guess?
What's going on with the arts?
What's going on with the arts? Would I have the right thing to say?
Sure, yeah.
So there's an effort by a private group in town to build a performing arts center. And that's been a conversation for quite some time now. But that performing arts center seems to have hit a critical point. They've hired a guy to come in to sort of get this off the ground, to do some fundraising. Representative Gary Simmerl, who's almost ready to retire, and it breaks my heart every time I say that, as good as he's been to the people of Rock Hill. You need to get him on your podcast.
Okay.
Sure enough. He got in the budget this past year $1 million towards that effort. It's probably, I don't know. They'll tell you the number. I'm thinking it's a $30 million project. Got to raise all that privately, or a good bit of that privately. Right. But they're hitting the ground running. It'll be downtown near Fountain Park when it all shakes out. And I think we're not far away from seeing that really.
So we're looking at a multi-use performance space, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Classroom space to it as well.
Okay.
Matt Dosh, who works for Comporium,
yeah, we know Matt.
We know him. Yeah,
he's on that committee. I'd suggest you maybe get him on here.
Okay.
He's now he's the head of RHEDC.
Yeah.
So you could get him on and get two conversations. So
Charles, you did have something funny to ask Mr. Mayor here. No.
What was that going to be?
I don't know. I thought as an actor you could come up with something.
I've asked everything.
So real quick, what's happening to Rock Hill Airport? What's the plan, the expansion, all this stuff?
Right. So Rock Hill Airport, we have to have so many events in order to qualify for an extension of the runway. And we're there. And so the extension of the runway, which will go back away from Celanese, I think is on the schedule funding-wise for 24, 25, starting that process, maybe 26. That'll bring a lot of federal money in to do that.
Okay.
The state has to chip in a bit, and the city and the county chip in a bit. So it's going to be a lot of money, but 90% of it's outside of this area is paying for it. And that really won't bring in any much bigger planes than what we have there now, or jets. But what it will do is it'll let someone who's flying this area, the Charlotte region from California or Colorado or something, be able to land here, fuel up, and because of the runway, the tanks will be full.
Right.
Have a longer runway to get off, to get all the way across without having to stop and go.
Right.
And so it'll open up even more opportunities for us.
What can you do to fast track my hangar construction?
Where are you in the process?
I'm on building 4, and they're like a year behind schedule.
So
I cannot buy an airplane until my hangar is ready.
They've approved it. It's just getting it built.
Yeah, I've only lost 1 year on the lease of the property.
Who's building that?
So
we can have a conversation.
So just to quick background, there's 4 buildings. I think it's like 48 hangars coming there. Building 1 is up, but other 3 buildings are under construction.
Yeah. I'll check into it.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Any final thoughts, projects to talk about?
No, just appreciate what y'all do in Rock Hill. Sure. I mean, to see the growth of your business, to leave downtown, which we're sad about, but to see why. I mean, you needed parking.
Correct.
And you got to have it. And we're building parking decks, but they're not here yet.
Right.
You can't wait.
Right.
Don't blame you.
Right.
But to stick around and be a viable part of our community, the work you're doing on Miracle Park, which I didn't know about until today, that really says a lot about your organization and about this good town that we live in.
Yep.
I think I need more bourbon.
Hey, let's do it. We'll cut the broadcast here and we'll continue the rest of it. But no, pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Bandit Room is a production of Span Enterprises, located in sunny Rock Hill, South Carolina. We've been developing, supporting, and growing successful IRS e-filing and business management solutions since 2010. Go to spanenterprises.com now to learn more. The views and opinions expressed in the Bandit Room are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect or state the opinions of Span Enterprises. No information should be considered as tax, legal, or other professional advice.